tournament for the second time in 3 years. Boy, wouldn't a road win here be huge for them. Roger Ayers, Bert Smith, Tommy Morrissey, the officials. And that's the tip of our sonic blockbuster matchup. The Blue Devils with the first possession of the night.
Seth Trimble guarding Cooper Flagg. He's given up a lot of size.
And an easy one as Flagg finds Sion James.
Sion James sets a little screen, then wide open, slipping to the basket.
The North Carolina starting five, again 4 guards, including Ian Jackson, an outstanding freshman, has become a big-time scorer for them, and a nice find from Elliot Cadeau to Van Allen Lubin to get the heels on the board.
Duke switching everything, and Van Allen Lubin set a screen right at the free throw line, similar to Sion James, just slipped right to the rim. Cadeau, an excellent passer.
The nipple coming off a screen, lays it up, no good, and the rebound down to Trimble. And as Jay said, Carolina will look to run at every opportunity. Lubin, an undersized 5-man really for Carolina. Former Notre Dame Fighting Irish, former Vandy Commodore, R.J. Davis. Nice pass into Cadeau, but look at the size that he is dealing with, and he turns it over.
Well, when Cadeau drives the baseline, Kaman Malawach, all 7-2 of them came over from the weak side and just created a wall. And Duke's help side rotated very well. There was just no one for him to pass it to.
The 5 Carolina starters average about 6'3" in height. The 5 Duke starters about 6'8". They are noticeably bigger at every position. The nipple to Flagg, too strong, but a foul.
Duke with a little open side screen and roll to get Flagg rolling to the basket. And Cooper Flagg is such a difficult matchup. Sets a little screen, then rolls a nice little hook pass to get it to him. Van Allen Lubin hits him when he goes up. But with that open side, it's so difficult to tag that roller. And Cooper Flagg is such a tough matchup because of his size, his length, and his skill level.
Other than that, he doesn't have much going.
Yeah, really doesn't. But he has been living at the free throw line, especially over the last 5 games. He shot 51 free throws the last 5 games. His teammates a combined 61 over that period.
His numbers in conference play are crazy. Over 25 points per game his last 8 games. He is, John Shire and company tell us, under the weather. He has been fighting it the last couple of days as he misses both free throws. So he may not be physically quite at 100%, but is obviously in the game for the Blue Devils.
Tyrese Proctor guarding R.J. Davis. They'll switch quite a bit. There's a switch right there, but R.J. Davis always seems to have size on him this season.
Cadeau into the paint, floats it up short, and the rebound to Knipple. Duke pushing. Proctor for 3. And tipped back out by Malawach. They play on. Sion James will step back and miss the 3. Malawach again. Flagg. Yes.
If North Carolina is going to give Duke that many opportunities, you get 2 offensive rebounds and 3 shot attempts. They shot 33%, but they still came away with 3 points because of the offensive glass.
Can Carolina keep Duke off the glass and get out in transition and get some easy ones? Backdoor pass taken away by Flagg. Look at that pass, and James will lay it in.
Boy, what a big-time read defensively to steal that backdoor pass. Just beautifully done by Cooper Flagg.
You expect Duke to switch 1 through 5 most of the night?
Yes. Yep. Take a look at Cooper Flagg here on the left side of the floor. Just takes away that backdoor pass, opens up, and then he's able to take it the other way and just threads the needle between 2 defenders. And after this pass cross court from Con Knipple, he catches it ready to shoot. But that was after 2 offensive rebounds where Carolina overall had played pretty good defense. They just didn't clean it up with an offensive board.
Jalen Washington into the game for the first time for the Heels. Cadeau off to Washington, softly off the glass and good.
Beautiful pick and roll again with an open side. That was a great catch and finish by Jalen Washington. He needs to have a big game in this one.
Again, he did not play, missed the game because of a knee injury against Pitt on Tuesday night. Carolina had the lead late, but lost by 8 to the Panthers. Carolina in desperate need of some quality wins.
So far, Duke's transition defense has been pretty good, getting back, making Carolina play 5-on-5 in the half court. That's advantage Duke.
Here comes Davis. He has not had a great year shooting the ball, and this is 5th and final season, but noticeably better the last 4 games. Look at the size he's dealing with Malawach on him. Trimble with 3 to shoot, gets it off and hits.
Well, that's a heck of a shot by Trimble. There are only 3, maybe 2 seconds left on the shot clock, and that's the kind of tough 2 that Duke wants to force. A mid-range jumper oversized.
Duke by 1, just over 4 minutes into this one here at Cameron. Flag posting, the immediate double. Open is Proctor. Count it.
Boy, how about that? You bring the double, and he can see right over the top of it and makes exactly the right cross-court pass. The skip, beautifully done.
And now his second steal of the night. Off to Proctor for the slam. Cooper Flagg already has 4 assists in this game, and we're less than 5 minutes in.
And he's really done it, 2 of them with defense.
Yep.
Making steals and then basically acting as the point guard in transition.
The Heels need a big night from Jackson. That 3 around and out, and Flagg down with the board.
Boy, a lot of tough shots for North Carolina.
Flagg will try a 3 and hit. What a sensational start for Cooper Flagg.
That's what sick looks like. What a start. North Carolina doubling Cooper Flagg. He immediately turns around, throws over the double to a wide open Tyrese Proctor. And then his second steal of the game leads to an easy bucket to Proctor again. And then knocking a 3 down in transition. It's been all Cooper Flagg.
Again, here's Jess.
Dan, I caught up with Cooper Flagg's mom, Kelly Flagg, pregame, and her smile then and now says it all. She said before every game she texts Coop, go early and go often as a reminder to be aggressive and make things happen from the jump. Something I know Coach Scheyer would definitely agree with after giving him the feedback after the last game against NC State about being too soft.
Yeah, we were talking to Jon Scheyer today, and I said to Joe Cooper during the lap that he was kind of being a little soft. He said, not kind of. I told him he was being soft. And he said the best thing, as Jeff said, is Flagg responds to that, wants the criticism, and boy, is he off to some kind of start here tonight.
And that was all started with the defense of Malik Brown, who gets his hand on the basketball constantly. He's got, that's probably 87 or 88 deflections that he's got on this season, even after missing the last 4 games. And that has started Duke's transition. So far, it's been defense that has dominated. The turnovers that Carolina has committed and that Duke has forced has led to 3 really easy baskets.
Malik Brown back after missing 4 games with a knee injury, a very important defensive player, among other things, off the bench for the Blue Devils. There he is, almost swiping it away from Trimble. The Blue Devils have 7 baskets. Flagg has scored 3 of them and assisted on the other 4. Left hand, R.J. Davis, no. Shot clock reset.
Duke's help side is positioned so well. There's really nowhere for Carolina to drive it without Duke bodies being there.
And look how hard they are having to work to get a shot off. Davis misses the 3. Brown with a rebound. Flagg. Brown kicks it back out to Proctor. Knipple will try a 3, and he'll hit. And Duke is absolutely on fire in the early going. Trimble left alone, and the 3 won't go down. Knipple again. It's a 16-0 run for the Blue Devils.
Right now, Duke is getting anything they want, but it's primarily because they're getting stops on the defensive end. It's been one shot and out if Carolina even gets a shot.
Drake Powell in off the bench, gets a good look, but he can't knock it down. Jalen Washington with the putback to snap the drought.
What North Carolina really needs here is a stop or rebound so they can get out in transition, because going against Duke's half-court defense is not a winning formula.
No matter whose numbers you look at, Duke one of the 3 or 4 best teams defensively in the nation, as James is fouled.
Now let's take a look at Knipple here. You see him on the right side. He is wide open, and nobody recovers until it's too late. I mean, R.J. Davis comes out, closes out when he's already in his shooting motion, and he's got such good poise in the lane and an excellent shot fake. You know, Knipple has probably been a little bit overlooked with all the Cooper Flag love, and all the Cooper Flag love, rightfully so. But Knipple's having a great freshman year as well.
No question. Coming off a 19-point game against the Wolfpack on Monday. Flag will sit as the 6th-year Mason Gillis, former Purdue Boilermaker, another part of a very good bench. You bring guys like Gillis and Malik Brown in off the bench. The shooting possibilities of Isaiah Evans. They'd love to get Caleb Foster going as well to round out that rotation. But right now, here comes Foster as James will sit. Foster was the starting point guard at the beginning of the year. Just hasn't been able to make shots like he has in the past. And Jon Scheyer hopeful that if he sees 1 or 2 go through the net, it'll get him heated up in the second half of the season.
Well, Sion James, his emergence has been really important for Duke because he gives them a really physical point guard.
And again, switching everything. Proctor now on to Cadeau. Washington the screen. Tipped out of bounds. Malik Brown about as good as there is in the nation at deflections.
So disruptive. He just keeps his hands active when he's guarding the ball. He's swiping at it all the time. He swipes at it when he gets in a passing lane. Just an excellent defender.
Shot clock is at 4. Washington is fouled by Gillis. And a timeout on the floor. 8:03 into this one. Duke is shooting almost 70%, and they have a commanding early lead.
Really a family affair. His mom, Sherry Nordgaard Knipple, is still the all-time leading scorer at the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay. And dad, also Con Knipple, is the 2nd leading scorer at Wisconsin Lutheran College. Con actually credits playing in his dad's men's league and learning how to play off the ball to get open. But the Knipple kids are a starting 5, which means Con has 4 younger brothers who are also deeply invested in the sport, including Pager, who just got his first Division I offer to Toledo as a sophomore. Con said watching Pager play is his favorite thing to do outside of playing himself, of course. And mom shares the same sentiment about Con. She said, watching my son play for Duke always gives me the chills. Every time he takes off his warm-up shirt for the starting lineups, I get teary.
Jess, thank you. I mean, who's having more fun than the Knipple family? Watching their oldest son, Con, play here at Duke. 4 more basketball-playing kids, including Kid Knipple. How cool of a name. I mean, we got to keep an eye on Kid. We got to stick around long enough to call some of his games. Must be some good games on the driveway at the Knipple household. Washington playing very well. Again, missed the last game with a knee injury, but did not start tonight, but came in off the bench and has played very well and has been most of the offense so far for Carolina as Hubert Davis comes out of the timeout in a 2-3 zone.
They're just trying to protect the paint because they've been giving up so much paint, but Duke moves the ball so well. If they penetrate it, they can find some openings.
Knipple. The 3 won't go. Malawach, another offensive rebound. And Knipple is fouled and is heading to the line.
There's that shot fake. Oftentimes in a zone, it can be difficult for blockout responsibilities. And North Carolina gives up another offensive rebound. Malawach gives it back. to Knipple, and just a great shot fake by Con Knipple. Whether he's on the perimeter or inside, he's very good with that fake. You have to stay down and can't leave the floor till he does.
You talked about how, with all the attention on Cooper Flagg, Knipple's excellence in his freshman season may have been overlooked a little bit. 13 points per game, 2.5 assists per game, 87% free throw shooting.
One of the top three-point shooters in the league, 5th in the league in three-pointers made, and makes just under 40% of them.
He'll make them, he'll come out, and Flagg back in.
North Carolina going in a horn set. They like to exchange up top and then get into a ball screen. And then there's a back screen.
Powell back to Cadeau, who's got Malawach on him. Again, Duke switching everything. Cadeau driving on Gillis. Powell lost it. Blue Devils in transition. Malawach with the left.
Boy, Cooper Flagg faked the skip pass cross court and then was able to find Malawach as the trailer. Just such poise in transition from Cooper Flagg.
Assist number 5 of the night already for Flagg. Davis a nice find. Cadeau buries the 3. And for North Carolina to have any chance, you got to believe they've got to score in transition. And Jay, they've got to make some threes, and they have not been a great three-point shooting team this year.
Well, that 3 was a rhythm 3 because R.J. Davis was able to drive the closeout, get into the paint. That was important to generate that shot.
And now Ian Jackson fouls Tyrese Proctor as he was taking a 3.
Didn't allow him the chance to land, and Tyrese Proctor has not been shooting the ball as well of late as he did earlier in the season. Proctor's 5 of his last 23 from 3 heading into this game, but just didn't give Ian Jackson didn't give him the chance to land. Just cracked him just a bit as he was coming down.
The junior from Sydney, Australia, playing more off the ball this year. The Blue Devils hoping to capitalize on his outside shooting. And as Jay mentioned, not shooting as well lately. Overall, 39% from 3 on the season, averaging just over 10 points per game.
But overall, he's had a great year. And especially on the defensive end, he's been a really good defender for Duke with his ability to guard multiple positions.
And again, the positional size that Duke has is really unlike any other team in the country. It starts with a Malawach at 7'2" in the middle. But, you know, Sion James looks like a 6'6" linebacker. He's the point guard. Proctor is 6'6". Gillis is 6'6". Knipple 6'7". Flagg is 6'9". Everybody on this team is huge.
And they're versatile. That's the important thing, is being able to switch 1 through 5 is a luxury.
Trimble gets a good look. And the rebound down to Foster.
Boy, look at Malawach run the floor. He just sprinted down court.
Foster into the paint, scoops it up, no good. Flag the follow, out of bounds to Carolina.
Looks like they got a foul
on Cooper Flagg. His first. Just the 3rd on Duke. Carolina has committed 5 just past the midway point of the first half. Lube in the handoff to Cadeau.
Boy, what a recovery.
Caleb Foster got a piece of it, but then out of bounds back to the heels. But it feels like there are arms and legs everywhere for Duke right now.
Just every Duke defender, they're not worried about their man. They're playing the ball. And after this little backdoor play, a switch, and then a terrific recovery, almost like a veer switch by Caleb Foster. Just an excellent job to knock that ball away.
You look at other great defensive teams. Certainly Houston is. Certainly Iowa State is. And there are others. But in your mind, Auburn is. But is this the best defensive team in the country?
They're a very good half-court defensive team. They're among the best teams. I'm not sure I'd say the best, but they're right there. Like Marquette they force a lot of turnovers. One thing Duke doesn't do is they don't force turnovers. But Boy, they really contest shots and make you take a lot of tough twos.
Lubin trying to post on Malawach. Back out to Cadeau. Shot clock at 7. The drive, and it's swatted away.
Well, Cooper Flagg took away the 3, and then everybody took away the 2.
Isaiah Evans into the game. A guy who can light it up from the outside.
Isaiah Evans is a flamethrower.
Turnaround by Flagg. Malawach, another rebound.
Boy, even when North Carolina has inside position on the glass, Duke's just going right over the top of them. They are just dominating the glass and dominating the paint at both ends of the floor.
And as I'm sure you can tell in front of your TVs, it is some kind of loud right now at Cameron. Cadeau the kick. Trimble runs into Evans, trying again, has it knocked away, but then Evans loses it out of bounds.
Just great positioning on help. Right now, every North Carolina ball handler is seeing more bodies than they are wood. There's just nowhere to go. Isaiah Evans was right there as a help side defender, then knocks the ball away from Trimble. He just couldn't come up with it, but just great defensive play. 5 playing as 1 for Duke.
And that's the 7th turnover right there as Knippel comes up with a steal. The Heels have turned it over 7 times. Duke just once. Evans, this is what he is in the game to do. A bad miss there, but he's a 45% three-point shooter.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be taking challenge threes, though. That was a challenge shot, not a good one.
Jackson misses the 3. Ball still loose, and it belongs to Duke.
But Carolina just not able to come up with any loose ball, any offensive rebound. It has been all Duke on the glass.
Screen by Flagg. Knippel, and that sails behind Flagg out of bounds. A 21-point lead here for the Blue Devils.
The Duke freshmen have played with a great deal of poise. Cooper Flagg got off to a great start.
Sonic blockbuster as John Calipari takes the Hogs to Rupp, where of course he was the coach of Big Blue for 15 seasons, won a national championship, 4 Final Fours. As Coach K looks on here at Cameron, things obviously didn't end quite as well for John Calipari in Lexington. What do you think the scene's going to be like in a couple of hours?
I think it's going to be wild, and as you said, emotional, and not just emotional for John Calipari, but for some of the Arkansas players.
Right.
You know, Du Thero, DJ Wagner, Zvonimir Ivisic, they all played for Kentucky, and 3 of Arkansas's recruits committed to Kentucky before changing their commitment when John Calipari took the job.
A lot of discussion about what kind of a reception John Calipari is going to get. Will it be positive or mixed? We'll wait and see. That is a Sonic blockbuster, and it is coming your way at 9 o'clock Eastern tonight on ESPN. Corner 3 short by Trimble.
That's 1 of 8 now for Carolina. Carolina only made 1 pass on that possession. They've got to move the ball.
Duke 10-0 in the ACC. This is the first time since 07-08 they have started league play 10-0. Knippel into the paint, just kept on going.
With the little exchange with Proctor and Knippel, then Knippel came off for the handoff and turned the corner to get downhill. He is an underrated driver.
And just Carolina having so much trouble finding any openings, any driving lanes, and they turn it over again.
Well, Carolina's got to get tougher. They got to get tougher to get open. Van Allen Lubin didn't hold his position. I mean, Knippel just got right in front of him, took that ball away. That's a toughness issue there. You got to be tougher when you're posting up to hold that position, not let your defender just come around in front and knock that ball away.
Carolina did test itself extensively in the non-conference portion of the season. They beat Dayton. They have played Auburn. They played Michigan State. They played Alabama. They played Florida. They played a bunch of really good teams. The problem is they lost almost all of those those games. Again, their one quad one win is a neutral court win over UCLA. They have had a lot of close games. 9 games that have been one possession games. They're 5-4 in those. Overall 13-9 on the season and down 23 already in this one.
Duke has just taken R.J. Davis out of this game.
Look at Cadeau, but he couldn't finish. Follow won't go. 3 cracks at it. Now R.J. Davis, and that won't go down. And then a block by Flagg. So Carolina's already had 5 attempts here on this trip. And a whistle on the drive. Don't know if this is a shot clock issue, perhaps, as Bert Smith and Tommy Morrissey are talking it over.
They may take a look at an elbow that they thought was thrown on the Cadeau drive. I know that Duke was asking for that. But earlier in the possession on a drive by Elliot Cadeau, when he goes. Now Duke wants that looked at. I don't know that the officials are walking over there now, and I think that's why they're doing it.
Previous play is under review for a hostile act.
A hostile act. Good eyes by you. Did Elliot Cadeau commit a hostile act there on Tyrese Proctor? So no call on the floor. They cannot go to the monitor and say it's a common foul. It's going to be nothing or perhaps a flagrant one.
Just trying to get Tyrese Proctor off of him. Uses that off arm to ward him off. But when it gets up around the head and neck area, you never know what the officials are going to call. I mean, you could argue that Cadeau was fouled, but that's what they're looking at, his right arm.
And that noise you just heard is the crowd getting a look at it on the Jumbotron here at Cameron as Roger Ayers continues to look at various angles. And now the 3 officials talking it over. Extremely experienced crew here. And Roger Ayers, Bert Smith, and Tommy Morrison. It was 7-6 a few minutes into the game. Since then, a 29-7 run for Duke. Shooting well, forcing turnovers, getting out in transition, dominating on the glass, really winning every aspect of the game.
Well, it's Duke's defense that's been the most impressive thing of the game. They have made it very difficult for North Carolina in the half court to get anything open at all. And North Carolina's found it difficult to get passes off. But they haven't been moving the ball. That's one thing that North Carolina has to fix. They've got to start moving the ball, because you're not going to cause the defense any problems just by dribbling in one spot.
And it looks like we may have a resolution. Well, maybe it's a kind of a split decision here. They're looking.
Well, they might be looking at time now. If they're going to call a flagrant, they're going to have to adjust the time.
After review, the ruling on the floor, we have a flagrant 1 foul on North Carolina, number 3. There'll be 2 shots and the ball.
So flagrant 1, 2 shots in the ball for the Blue Devils. And Hubert Davis wondering what else can go wrong so far tonight. And as you said, even if there's no intent, you get a forearm or an elbow up above the shoulders, generally it is called a flagrant one.
Yeah, they're much more sensitive to when there's contact in that area. I'm surprised that the play went further from that and that nobody saw it.
So Proctor at the line for 2. And cans them both to make it a 25-point game. And now it's Duke ball. It's a 9-0 run for Duke, and Jay, that's lasted almost 5 minutes. Carolina has not scored a point in 5 minutes.
Well, one of the reasons, Dan, you can count the passes they've made in the half court on one hand.
Flag. Defended by Jalen Withers, who commits the foul. The former Louisville Cardinal, a fifth-year grad student who's kind of fallen out of the rotation in recent games, just getting a few minutes here or there. He is one guy Hubert Davis says physically he can match up size-wise with Flag, and I think at this point Hubert Davis is going to try anybody he can think of on Cooper Flag.
Yeah, he's searching a little bit for an answer, but the last 5 games Jalen Withers has only scored 11 points and 7 rebounds in 35 minutes total.
They start Ben Allen Lubin, an undersized 5 really, and they bring Jalen Washington in off the bench, a little bit of Withers. They also have Kate Tyson, a transfer from Belmont, who was getting fairly regular minutes early, but he's kind of fallen out of the rotation as well. Drake Powell, who's really a wing, has to play the 4 sometimes. It's just not a typical Carolina team up front, and boy did Armando Bacot, I mean, how great was he for 5 years, and how much easier did he make everything just with his presence at both ends of the court.
We had Armando Bacot last year, Harrison Ingram, you had Cormac Ryan out on the perimeter, you had some threats. But right now it's so difficult for North Carolina. They're not generating any offense off the offensive glass.
Davis high off the glass and good. The first points of the night for R.J. Davis.
But look at the degree of difficulty for every shot for North Carolina relative to the quality of shot that Duke is getting on the other end. That's just not sustainable for 40 minutes.
Flag the screen. James the drive. Knocked away. Withers has it. Here come the heels in transition. But guess who? Malik Brown with another deflection.
And that shows how disruptive he can be. North Carolina gets a break. They have a chance to pass ahead and play ahead of the Duke defense for maybe the first time all night. And Malik Brown, who was ACC all-defensive team at Syracuse, disrupts it.
Brown on Jackson. Now Cadeau, tough one up, no good, and somehow Cadeau comes up with it while he was lying on the court. And the initial signal is it is a held ball, and the possession arrow will keep it with Carolina.
That has to be the lowest of the rim rebound in the history of basketball. He was prone when he got that rebound.
Again, another very difficult shot.
That is a below the rim rebound.
Cadeau is going to sit. And a bigger lineup for Carolina with the Withers and Lubin both in there, but they're still not bigger than Duke, as Malawach at 7'2" just checked back in.
Yeah, John Shire said, you go big, I see you're big, and raise you. I raise you. Come on, Malawach on the ball.
7'5" wingspan, 9'8" standing reach. Off the inbounds, Trimble couldn't finish it.
Well, point blank, Knippel was able to put pressure on it, but that's not a shot you're going to see Seth Bull miss very often.
Carolina shooting 25%, Duke 7. Knippel to Flag. 3 no good, and the rebound down to Lubin. Hubert Davis talking about how teams are putting bigger defenders on R.J. Davis this year. Scoring down a bit, shooting. 3-point shooting is down this year for Davis. He gets by Malawach, kicks it to Withers, who hits a corner 3.
Jalen Withers had a terrific freshman year at Louisville, averaged 10 points and about 8 rebounds. But he's been unable to match that since then.
Yeah, 3 years with the Cardinals, 2 now with Carolina. He's on Flag.
A little low cross screen by Proctor for Flag. Pretty well defended by North Carolina.
James. Knippel deep in the corner. James in the corner now. Good ball movement by the Blue Devils, but the shot won't go, and here come the heels. Trimble all the way. And a foul on the floor going against Duke. 2:41 to go. The Blue Devils up 22 here in the first half against the Tar Heels. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought. Back here to Cameron, where the Blue Devils are in control. The Jeep halftime report is not that far away. Baylor, what a comeback to beat Kansas, and the Trojans sneaking past the Spartans with a preview. Here's Jess.
Guys, it's all about the Duke dominance right now. Seth, what are you seeing offensively that's giving them the edge?
The pace, force, and connectivity of this Duke offense is impressive. And Cooper Flagg, first 15 points, he either scores or assists. He took over the game in the first 5 minutes of the game.
But most, if not all, of their offense came from their defense, Jay. What are you seeing?
You know, this is the most disciplined Duke team I've seen in a while with their size and their length. You can't get into those gaps. They're very special to watch, and there's nothing North Carolina can do.
Thanks, guys.
Jess, thank you. Reese Davis and company coming your way on the Jeep halftime report. 2:41 from now. Seth Trimble at the line for Carolina. The Heels are actually on a 6-0 run right now, but still trail by 21. They are shooting only 29%. Flagg got off to an unbelievable start the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game. Duke has led by as many as 27. At this moment, Flagg 11 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 2 steals.
I may differ just a bit with my learned colleague. I think there is something North Carolina can do. You know, they need to toughen up and make some passes on the offensive end and put a little bit more game pressure on Duke.
Good pass from Knipple to Mason Gillis, who got off to a very cold start this year shooting the 3, but has really heated up the last few weeks.
Well, he's really adjusted to the way Duke plays. I mean, he was 7 of his last 13 from 3 coming into this game, and he's a 40% career shooter from 3.
Of course, a big part of that Purdue team that went to the national championship game a year ago. Inside 2 minutes to go in the half.
On some of these drives, North Carolina's winding up flat on their back, and that's not putting them in a great position for their transition defense.
Trimble knocks it away from Knipple.
I think they got Knipple fouling Trimble as he was headed the other way, because he was headed for a breakout.
Yeah. Roger Ayers with a foul call on Knipple, and then kind of a warning to the UNC bench as they all exploded off the bench, and he asked them to sit back down. Then the Heels have lost 3 of their last 4. Lost at Pitt, lost at Wake, lost at home to Stanford. The only win in that stretch overtime at home against BC. Davis hits the 3.
Much better movement by North Carolina. The dribble weave moves the defense, and then R.J. Davis able to pop out to the 3-point line. Yeah, if you're just going to dribble in one spot, you're not going to find any openings against this Duke defense because their help side is so good.
Knipple to Malowacz. Boy, just throw the ball up there and let him go get it.
After Malowacz sets a screen, he is going right to the rim. They can throw it up as high as they want to.
Look at the traffic. Davis finds Withers in the corner. The 3 well short.
Problem was they had 2 guys in the corner, Withers and Trimble.
Final minute of the first half. Sion James started better than 100 games at Tulane, and John Shire admitted this morning he was excited to get him, but he's even better than he thought he was. They are getting so much from Sion James.
A little isolation on the right elbow.
Flagg misses the long 2. Gillis the hustle, but Davis has it. Ahead to Jackson, and a foul is called. Don't forget, a Sonic blockbuster coming your way later on tonight at 9 Eastern. John Calipari is in the building at Rupp Arena, leading his Razorbacks in there against UK. Of course, Coach Cal, 15 years, 4 Final Fours, 1 national championship for Big Blue, but now coaching for the other side. It's going to be a scene. Jackson at the line. What a stretch he had. He's cooled off a little bit recently, but had a stretch, as you well know, Jay, where he had 20 or more in 6 of 7 games. He is second in a lot of categories among ACC freshmen because Cooper Flagg is number 1, but Jackson going to be an explosive player at the offensive end.
He's had some big games. He had 23 against Alabama, 27 against Notre Dame, and he's averaging close to 17 points per game in ACC play.
Those his first 2 in this game. Looks like he's favoring his right leg. He just looked over to the bench, reached down, tapped his right shin or calf, and he's coming out of the game. We will keep an eye on that. Just 25 seconds left in the half. And the Blue Devils can hold for the final shot. And Jon Scheyer will use a timeout. 45-25 Blue Devils. We're back in 30.
Celebrate a year of groundbreaking artists making unforgettable music that united us all.
It's about bringing us all together as only music can.
And the Grammy goes
to
The Grammys, live CBS Sunday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, and streaming on Paramount Plus.
A little bit later on this evening, our NBA Saturday primetime matchup on ABC and the ESPN app. LeBron and the Lakers playing the 5th game of a 6-game road trip at MSG against Jalen Brunson and the Knicks. Our coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 8 Eastern.
Madison Square Garden, when the Knicks are good, and they're really good, is electric. I mean, it is a fabulous atmosphere, and nobody has played better than Jalen Brunson. He's been spectacular for the Knicks.
Speaking of the NBA, Jared McCain, a Blue Devil last year, very talented rookie guard with the 76ers this year. He is in attendance here tonight.
Yeah, the leading candidate for Rookie of the Year when he was injured.
Final seconds of the first half.
Duke going 5 out, really spreading the floor against North Carolina for this last possession.
Flagg defended by Davis. Got a big size advantage. Tough turnaround. Goes.
Boy, how about that play? A spectacular pass fake to the corner that got the second defender off him, just shot right over RJ. But you have to give Duke credit for an excellent defensive first half.
We are now ready for the second half of our Sonic blockbuster matchup. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Jess Sims here at Cameron Indoor Stadium in Durham. 22-point lead for the Blue Devils. Flagg draws a double, kicks to Knipple, and he gets inside and slams it. No defense at the rim for the Heels.
Boy, North Carolina puts 2 on the ball, and yet again Cooper Flagg able to look over that double team and throw it opposite. But you're right, nobody reacted to that drive by Knipple.
Lubin trying to post up Knipple, lost it. And for Carolina, their 10th turnover of the night. And almost all of them, Jay, have been live ball turnovers, and Duke has turned those into points at the other end.
Well, in the first half, Duke had more steals than North Carolina had assists.
Knipple for 3. And Duke picking up right where they left off in the first half.
Boy, every time North Carolina's brought a double, Duke has passed out of it, and the second pass is where they've had great success. Terrific pass on the screen roll down the middle.
Cadeau to Lubin for the lay-in. First bucket of the second half for the Tar Heels.
North Carolina has not had many easy baskets. That was one of the very few.
Duke, a very balanced team, top 10 of the nation in both offensive and defensive efficiency. And both of those have been on display here tonight. Another good pass. Good closeout by R.J. Davis on Knipple. Now he's going to post him up. Got a big height advantage on him. And draws a foul.
Smart play by Knipple. When Davis took away that drive and he passed it back out, he just took R.J. Davis down in the post and decided to use his size. Anytime that you got Elliot Cadeau or R.J. Davis switching off, I think you have to take him down in the post. That goes for Knipple, but also Sion James.
And it was Lubin coming over to help, who was called for the foul. It'll be his second as Knipple goes to the line. And Lubin's going to sit just a minute 42 into the half. Lubin out, and Jalen Washington checks in for Hubert Davis.
Duke shot 14 free throws in that first half. North Carolina only 6. And that's a departure for a North Carolina team. Usually Carolina gets to the free throw line and they have a free throw advantage. That has not been the case in this game and not really been the case this year.
Cadeau guarded by Flag. Now a reset to Davis.
Jalen Washington tried to post up. Malowacz just pushed him right off his spot, just more physical.
R.J. Davis over Malowacz, buries a three, his second of the night.
Gutsy over the 7-2 long reach of Malowacz with that step back.
That is the 322nd made three-pointer of R.J. Davis's Tar Heel career. He is the North Carolina leader, obviously the 5th year because of COVID, but still a magnificent 5-year career really for R.J. Davis in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, R.J. Davis gets the advantage on the switch, and that little step back right over the outstretched arms of Kaman Malowacz. Not an easy shot, but it's been a season of difficult shots for R.J. Davis.
So now Flag at the line for Duke. And as you said, you talked about it early in the game, getting to the line at a very high rate in ACC play. It seems he is more decisive, a little more aggressive and forceful the last month or so than say he was at times earlier in the season.
I think that's exactly the word, decisive. When he caught that ball against a smaller defender, he just ripped through one dribble and he's to the rim. And that's what caused that foul, was the decisive nature of that move. Maybe earlier in the season he might have played with it, tried to cross over 2-3 dribbles, and that could get him into a little bit of trouble.
Cadeau gets it back from Washington. Left alone 17 feet away, and he knocks it down.
A little better action from North Carolina, a little more movement in their attack.
Ball screen to Malowacz. Knipple finds James in the corner, and the three will go.
Boy, the spacing so good from Duke. You're worried about Malowacz and his roll to the basket. That opens the cross-court pass for the easy three from Sion James.
How about Duke 7 for 13 from three-point range as Trimble answers at the other end.
Really good cut by Trimble, curling and really turning the corner to get downhill. And North Carolina having a little more success in the second half of attacking the rim.
Trimble, a guy you talked about how he's the leading rebounder on this team. How unusual that is for a 6'3" guard. He's coming off successive double-doubles against BC and Pitt. 18 and 12 in one game, 10 and 12 in the other. Washington kept it alive. Trimble's got it. Ten to shoot. Davis again with a Malowacz on him. Can't shake him. Good footwork by the big man. Cadeau into traffic. Wild shot off the glass and flagged the rebound.
Great challenge by Sion James at the rim. Just make Cadeau score over.
Knipple. And one.
R.J. Davis had a hand on the ball, but Con Knipple showed some great strength to not only get that shot off, but to complete it off the glass. Watch, he has his hand on the ball, but Knipple just goes right through his arm and completes that play.
Knipple now with 18, 9 of them in the first 3:38 here in the second half. He is the high scorer in the game.
Sion James doing a really nice job of negotiating those screens and getting over the top.
Jackson a step back three. And the rebound to Flag. Ian Jackson has had a quiet night for the Heels.
And no offensive board coverage for North Carolina.
James is bumped by Jackson. .26 lead Duke with a timeout on the floor here early in the second half. ESPN.
Third season of the Kid Captain program by the Shire family, where they honor a child receiving care at the Duke Children's Hospital. Earlier tonight, Duke honored London Cannon, an incredible 6-year-old who was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia on his 4th birthday. But after 2.5 years of chemo, he found out he was cancer-free just 2 months ago, and tonight, I can't even tell you how loud it was in Cameron. This sold-out crowd showed so much love to this little boy, and it brought tears to so many people's eyes as he rang it.
Jess, thank you. Wonderful stuff. Such a heartwarming moment. And Jess is exactly right. It's been loud at so many different moments in this building on this night. Nothing compared to that moment. Knipple now with 20.
He has had a spectacular game. When he gets hot, and he can get hot in a hurry, he's got a lot of game. He's not just a shooter. He's much more than that.
R.J. Davis will step in and knock down the baseline jumper, and he's heating up. He's now got 10.
Well, anytime you close out, ideally you want to take away the shot and the drive. But with R.J. Davis, you definitely want to take away that three-point shot.
Proctor lays it in.
Duke is just cutting up North Carolina right now. Just a terrific cut by Tyrese Proctor, going up to set a screen, and then he just peeled out of it right to the rim.
This matches the Blue Devils' largest lead of the night at 28. Davis no, Proctor the board. Jon Scheyer said recently he was happy that the Blue Devils got pushed a couple of times recently. Their last two games against Wake Forest and NC State, as we have a held ball. They are not getting pushed here tonight. The league is not that strong this year. They did get pushed their last couple of games, but boy, they have been dominant tonight and really led for much of the time by Con Knipple.
Well, Knipple just taking advantage. Watch it. Tyrese Proctor goes to set a screen at an angle and then just slips right out of it for an easy bucket. Not enough pressure on the ball, but anytime Con Knipple has been guarded by R.J. Davis, if Elliot Cadeau switches off onto him, he's taking him right down in the post and just going to bully them.
Knipple with 20 already tonight, his season high 25 against Miami on the 14th of January.
And Seth Trimble just limped off the floor to the end of the bench. It looks like something with his left leg.
So it is Davis, Washington, Withers, Jackson, and Powell in the game right now for Carolina.
Carolina running a couple staggers on the right side of the floor, but Duke doing a great job switching to defend it.
And Malik Brown getting right in the passing lane. Didn't let Davis make the pass he wanted to make. Jackson and will try another step back. He'll hit it, and a foul on Gillis.
Just an outstanding individual play by Ian Jackson with the step back, and then the foul by Gillis. But North Carolina just not able to make very many passes. You have to make a great individual play in order to get a bucket. Nice little crossover and then the step back, and just trying to put pressure on the shot. Mason Gillis didn't give him the opportunity to land.
Jackson, a guy who can get to the rim with the best of them, but we shouldn't overlook the fact he's a good three-point shooter as well. 38% on the season.
Well, he's a terrific scorer. Yeah. North Carolina bringing some full court pressure, trying to trap and scramble.
Flag gets it over to Knipple. Gillis the extra pass to Proctor. Into the paint, and down with the rebound, Washington.
And Cooper Flagg almost took away that pass from Jalen Washington. He's got a terrific court sense, both ends of the floor.
Seth Trimble, by the way, has left the court now and gone back to the Carolina locker room. Jackson driving this time into the chest of Proctor, and it's an offensive foul. You don't see nearly as many charges as there used to be the way the rule has been redefined. But Proctor obviously got there in plenty of time.
Well, he was already there. He just never left. And when his man left the lane, Tyrese Proctor stayed there because he read the drive. So he didn't have to come over from the weak side. He was already there.
Third on Ian Jackson. Turnaround for Flagg. He's got 16.
He has the complete game. As complete a freshman that has ever played at Duke.
Trimble, by the way, now making his way back to the end of the Carolina bench as R.J. Davis draws a foul.
You know, one of the things about Cooper Flagg, who scored that last bucket for Duke, you know, there have been some uber talented freshmen at Duke in the last 40 years. Uber talented. He can match most of them, if not all, with his talent level. but his competitive spirit is at a level that most players, let alone freshmen, can reach. I mean, I think the full package, he's as good a freshman as has ever played here.
Yeah, the word you heard most often early in the season when you talked to John Shire and the other coaches on the Duke staff was competitive. This has been a much discussed note about Flagg, and it's a doozy. He currently leads Duke in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. He is not a lock to do it at the end of the season in either steals or blocks, but just the fact that he is right there in all 5 categories as an 18-year-old is amazingly impressive.
And sometimes you hear competitive and you think, oh, the guy hates to lose and he wants to win in ping pong and checkers. It doesn't matter. And that may be true in this situation. I'm not saying it's not. But I'm talking about on the floor. Like, he competes at a high level every play. And his basketball intelligence, his awareness is all part of that. You just don't see guys like this very often. It really stands out. I think the population number is wrong. It's down to 31-32 since he left and came to Durham.
Everything you heard about him, everything you read about him, he has lived up to, and in some cases perhaps even exceeded so far this season. And he and Janai Broome, would you say, are the top 2 contenders right now for National Player of the Year?
Yeah, I'd say Cam Jones and Marquette is in there too, but I think those 2 are the top candidates. And Tyrese Proctor is having an outstanding game. He has really bounced back from the last 5 games not shooting it particularly well. In this game, he's done everything well.
Auburn, by the way, got a road win at Ole Miss today. Another double-double for Janai Broome.
Auburn has 13 quad 1 wins.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
It's a huge difference because of how strong the SEC is and how much the ACC really struggled in non-conference play. Auburn now with 13 quad 1 wins. Duke's got 5. And Duke, as it stands right now, would only have 3 more quad 1 opportunities. Auburn, I believe, would have 8 more. Just the strength of schedule. Look out. James from Knipple. The strength of schedule difference for the top teams in the SEC is notable because that league is historically good this year.
Duke is just getting whatever they want on the offensive end. You know, they're playing that 5 out. They're getting fade screens, ball screens, cuts.
And they've got their largest lead of the night.
Without their starting point guard, Lamont Butler, who is injured.
Yep.
And that means that Kentucky is not going to be able to put the same kind of pressure on the ball at the point of attack that they normally can. So I think Arkansas has really got to try to punch the paint and drive the ball.
You saw Seth Trimble back into the game. Another Carolina turnover. Flagg takes it away from Withers.
You show him the ball and he takes it from you.
Turnovers have been a problem from the get-go for the Heels tonight. They've turned it over 13 times to just 5 for Duke. Now 6 for Duke. And Lubin ahead to Powell, who will slam it. First points of the night for Drake Powell.
Yeah, one of the few transition opportunities for North Carolina. And North Carolina is not a turnover forcing team. They're trying to get some full court pressure, get a trap, but Duke, if they break it, they need to break it to score.
Knipple going up to the rim, but met there by Lubin, who knocked it away.
Well, Lubin's got a long wingspan, about 7'1".
Proctor, and blocked by Lubin, saved by Davis. John Shire felt Davis was out of bounds, but they play on. Trimble, more of a driver than a shooter this year, not shooting the 3 this year as well as he did last year, and Carolina turns it over again.
Well, after that steal by Cooper Flagg, Duke got a breakout and a terrific vertical contest by Ben Allen Lubin. He followed it up by blocking a shot by Tyrese Proctor.
Boy, 2 blocks on 1 trip. Malawach back into the game for Brown for the Blue Devils.
North Carolina looks like they're dropping back in a 2-3 zone. They played a little bit of that in the first half, and Duke was able to get it into the middle of the zone and have some good success against it, especially with offensive rebounding.
It is something they really haven't done all season. Worked on it at practice yesterday. Hubert Davis said we just had it in our back pocket for a couple of weeks just in case. Davis, tough fadeaway, and the rebound to Knipple.
Jalen Withers able to block that shot on the defensive end. And after the miss, Carolina's going to be back to man-to-man.
Flag wide open. Hits the three. 19 now for Cooper Flag.
Just no resistance on that three at all.
Duke with 18 assists on 25 made baskets. Davis the drive. Whips it into the corner for Powell. Lubin will go to the line.
A Cooper Flag on the offensive end. Just after that little brush screen up top, just a miscommunication. 2 on the ball. And Jalen Withers couldn't recover in time to put any pressure on that shot. He just waltzed into it.
Duke now 9 for 15 from three-point range tonight. Lubin at the line for Carolina. Tomorrow afternoon, Hannah Hidalgo and number 3 Notre Dame at Louisville. Coverage begins at noon Eastern. Hidalgo continues to put up phenomenal numbers in her sophomore season for the Irish. Better than 25 points per game, better than 4 steals per game, and almost 6 boards per game as well.
Then Alan Lubin started his career at Notre Dame, playing for Mike Bray. Then when Mike Bray left Notre Dame, he transferred to Vanderbilt to play for Jerry Stackhouse. And then when Stackhouse was let go, then Ben Allen Lubin transferred here to North Carolina.
Cade Tyson making his first appearance tonight for the Tar Heels. Again, a guy transferred from Belmont, big score there, had some good moments earlier in the year for Carolina, has kind of fallen out of the rotation. Didn't play at all Tuesday against Pitt. Isaiah Evans doing what Isaiah Evans does.
And Cooper Flag doing what he does. You bring a double at him, he has picked those doubles apart with diagonal cross-court passes.
Assist number 7 for Flag. Davis, no. Lubin over Malawach.
Ben Allen Lubin has been much more aggressive in this second half on both ends of the floor. After the make, Carolina back in the 2-3 zone, putting Cooper Flag, a playmaker, in the middle. He can score in there but also pass.
And the 7 assists he has tonight, that matches a season high for the freshman. Proctor, no look to Malawach. And down with the rebound, Davis. 30-point lead for Duke. Withers with the left hand.
A tough move. A little Euro step and then the use of the left off the glass over Malawach. That was a heck of a shot by Jalen Withers.
And it's a huge lead, but Hubert Davis is trying something different than he's done in recent weeks. He's got really 3 forwards out there right now in Withers, Tyson, and Lubin. We've seen a lot of 1 big 4 guard looks from Hubert Davis recently. Just trying something different because the other stuff wasn't working. Flag, no. And again, Davis, the loose ball out of bounds. It belongs to the Heels, and Withers may be shaken up. 7:32 to go here in the second half. It has been all Duke all night long, and 2 of their freshmen are having huge nights. Cooper Flag and Con Knipple have combined for 39. Are in the building for a Sonic blockbuster against Otega Oweh, transfer from Oklahoma, double figures in every single game this year for Big Blue. Kentucky ranked 12th in the nation. There's going to be a lot to look in on in that game. Arkansas and Kentucky should be a good one. The SEC so compelling every single weekend. We talked about Tennessee, the big bounce back win over Florida. Auburn got a road win at Ole Miss. And how about Missouri and what Dennis Gates' team has done? They were winless in the SEC last year, 0-18. They went to the hump today and won by 27. The Tigers are having a great year.
And in that Kentucky-Arkansas game tonight, following this Duke-North Carolina game, a player to watch is going to be Amari Williams, the transfer, the lefty from Drexel. 3 out of his last 5 games, he's had double-doubles for Mark Pope. He's a playmaking big guy.
You and I will venture back into SEC country next week. We'll be at Auburn as the Gators will be there. Corner 3 for Drake Powell.
Carolina getting a little bit better action and being able to punch the paint, draw help, and then kick it out to Drake Powell. Drake Powell's going to be a really good player. He's so talented. Carolina sticking with that 2-3 zone.
Black sneaks behind it and got fouled.
They just ran a cutter along the baseline, Isaiah Evans, and then Kaman Malawach set a screen down low that freed up Cooper Flagg on that right block. You know, there are a lot of ways to attack a zone. You can penetrate the gaps of it, make 2 play 1 and play out of it. You can overload it, and certainly you can screen it. And that was a bit of the screen and overload together.
And you spoke earlier about how often a Flagg has been getting to the line. That was his 8th free throw attempt of the night. He is 5 for 8 so far, 81% from the line on the season. And there have been a number of nights like this for Flagg where he has just filled up so many different parts of the stat sheet. He's now got 21 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks.
It's going to be a really difficult decision. If National Player of the Year voting ended today, I would think Janai Broome of Auburn would win the vote. But by the end of the year, Cooper Flagg is really shooting up the charts. It's going to be a very difficult decision because I don't see neither Duke nor Auburn going anywhere at the top of the polls.
Well, let me ask you this. When you look at team resumes, teams get credit for playing a better schedule, strength of schedule. Do you give Broome, and this is not Flagg's fault, it's not Jon Scheyer's fault, it's not Duke's fault, but do you give Broome a little extra nudge if the numbers are very similar because Auburn has to play a tougher schedule than Duke has?
Maybe a little. I don't really worry too much about the numbers part of it because, you know, right now Cooper Flagg scoring more points, but Broome, his impact on games has been substantial, as has, that's why I'm saying it's going to be such a difficult decision. But right now, if it ended today, for me it would be Janai Broome, but it's a close call. Yeah, and there's a long way to go.
Broome's also come back from a couple of injuries this year, and in both cases it felt like he came back quicker maybe than was expected. Godot gets it up on the glass but can't finish it. Flagg down with it. And of course Auburn's only loss this year here in this building to Duke in the ACC SEC Challenge back at the end of November.
Yeah, one of only 2 losses for the SEC in that challenge. It turned out not to be a challenge. It was 14-2.
Howell ahead to Trimble for the lay-in. Duke's got an interesting game next Saturday. You can see it at 6 Eastern on ESPN. Again, there aren't that many teams who you would figure would really be able to challenge the Blue Devils, although anything can happen. But Duke's going to Clemson next Saturday, and Brad Brownell's got another good team this year.
He does have a good team. Chase Hunter having a terrific year. He's averaging over 17 a game. Ian Shefflin, one of the best rebounders in the country. Jaden Zachary, who transferred in from Boston College, is having a really good year. Clemson is a good team. They're solid.
Powell with a bucket for the Heels, and it is down to 21 in a game in which at one point Duke led by 32, and Jon Scheyer will use a timeout. 4:46 to go here in Durham. Blue Devils a perfect 10-0 in ACC play, and quite obviously on their way to 11-0. Here's a look at the remaining schedule for Duke, the regular season schedule. Per Ken Pom, they are favored to win every game, the closest game, if you will, according to how strong each team is. Per Ken Pom is the game next week at Clemson. Of note there, that is not a misprint. That is real. They are stepping out of league play. They'll play Illinois later on in February at Madison Square Garden. Jon Scheyer likes the idea of getting out of conference. They always love playing a neutral site game up in the New York City area. And again, the ACC not providing that many stiff challenges for Duke, but it will be a good one when they take on the Illini.
Yeah, Illinois is very good. I mean, they have lost 3 of 4. Lost to Michigan State and Maryland. They just got beat in overtime at Nebraska. But Kasparos Yakachonis is an outstanding young player that Duke's going to have to deal with. So I think that's smart scheduling to play that out of conference game late in the season.
Drake Powell with another bucket. It's a 19-point game. A couple of interesting results of the ACC today. Louisville, which has been playing extremely well. Pat Kelsey's team has been one of the big stories really in the country, but they went to Georgia Tech and lost today. And Wake Forest picked up a much needed quality win, a very close game as they beat Pitt at home.
Boy, Hunter Salas in that game against Pitt made some really tough shots toward the end of that game to seal it for Wake Forest. Wake's got a solid record in the league.
And again for Carolina, assuming they lose this game, they will fall to 1-9 in quad one. And their two biggest games of the season may be their next two games, as they will play at home to Pitt and then at Clemson next Saturday and Monday. 3:31 to go here at Cameron. Carolina's made it closer, but it's still Kobe Bryant, one of the best shooters in the country, leading Kentucky against John Calipari's Arkansas Razorbacks. It is a sonic blockbuster, and it is coming your way 30 minutes from now on ESPN. So how about these freshmen, Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel? The last time two freshmen each had 20 points and 5 assists in the same game against the North Carolina Tar Heels, it was 2010. It was Nolan Smith and John Shire, not freshmen. Last time two Duke players both had 20 and 5 in a game against Carolina. Nolan Smith and John Shire in Shire's senior season and an eventual championship season for the Blue Devils back in 2010. Pretty good company for the freshmen, Flagg and Knippel.
Well, both Flagg and Knippel play complete games. Carolina going with the full court pressure. Duke beating it not to score, but just to get it across. They're not slowing it down, but they're just not going to be in a hurry.
It's an 11-0 run for Carolina over the last 3:15 or so. If you're joining us late, this game has not been this close in a long time. Duke has led by as many as 32, and it felt like that for much of the night. Proctor, with the shot clock expiring, got the rim, and Flagg got the rebound.
Almost like North Carolina thought they had a shot clock violation and stopped pursuing the ball, and Cooper Flagg was able to beat everybody to it.
And a foul committed by Tyson. And that's going to send Knippel to the line. If you're Hubert Davis, barring a miracle here, this is going to be 4 losses in 5 games, and the win was at home in overtime over Boston College. What do you do? Where do you turn? How do you try to turn this around?
Well, you keep teaching. He's talked about details and discipline and about consistency. And look, I think North Carolina's better than their record. Do I think this is a great basketball team? I don't. But they're much better than their record. And they're going to have to be, their inconsistency hasn't even been consistent. Some games they turn it over. Other games they don't shoot it well. Other games they don't rebound. And they've been in so many of their games. They've had leads late, had a lead late against Pitt. They had a lead late in Allen Fieldhouse against Kansas, lead against Florida. Those are all good teams. They just weren't able to close.
Tyson's 3 off the side of the backboard. And again, Carolina's next 2 games could make or break their season. Pitt and Clemson, they need some quality wins after that. They've got 6 in a row against teams in the bottom half of the league, and then they finish up at home in the regular season against the Blue Devils in Chapel Hill March the 8th.
And it sounds simple, Dan, but North Carolina's got to get tougher with the way they run offense. They've got to make harder cuts, and they got to screen better and just be a little bit more physical in every aspect of things.
Top of the hour, Arkansas, Kentucky. John Calipari's return to Rupp. It's a sonic blockbuster, and it's coming up next as Elliot Cadeau gets knocked to the court. Been a great first year for Mark Pope, coaching at his alma mater, and again the energy, the emotion, maybe emotion is a better word than energy. It's going to be something else at Rupp Arena. It probably is already, and you're going to see it soon enough. Cadeau trying to drive by James off the back of the iron. James Brown is into the game. Freshman out of Aurora, Illinois, came down with a rebound, but we have a call going against Carolina.
They called it on Cadeau, saying he pulled down Sion James after that shot. So he was trying to be physical getting into the defender, and then when he put the shot up, the official said he pulled Sion James down. That's where the foul came from.
Another sellout, of course, here at Cameron, 9,314, and they have enjoyed every moment of it. And here's a guy who has enjoyed more Duke Carolina moments than just about anybody. You are looking at Freddie Kiger, and he is what's known as the official statistician here, and this is Freddie's 100th Duke Carolina game, going way back to when he was at Carolina. Dean Smith was the coach, and he did stats for the program, and then he's worked for every television entity you can think of over the last really 40 years or so, I would think. He is an icon in the ACC, as is John Madry sitting to my left, the statistician with us up here in the booth. But congratulations to Freddie Kiger. I don't know how many people, Jay, can say they've been at 100 Duke Carolina games. And if you know anything about the ACC, you know Freddie Kiger.
Well, Freddie Kiger is just a beautiful human being, and he's an encyclopedia of ACC history, as is our partner and friend John Madry.
Yep.
But whenever we put up the graphic saying, hey, the last 100 games, you know, Duke is 51 and 49 against North Carolina. Freddie Kiger's seen them all.
Proctor behind the back. Beautiful feed, and Brown the reverse. Coach K, his wife Mickey, getting up from their seats, watching better than 39 minutes of this one, as his protege Jon Scheyer is on his way to a very impressive win over the Tar Heels.
Yeah, for 42 years, Coach K never left the building early. He had to stay.
Right. Knipple out, Brown out, flag out in the final minute of the game. Again, a 20-point lead in a game that really hasn't felt that close for very much of it. This is another impressive statement by Duke. Unquestionably one of the best teams in the country.
No question. They're their best team in the ACC with a legitimate shot to go unbeaten in conference play. Still a long way to go, but they have a legit shot to do it.
They will be 11-0 in league play after this one. The last team to go undefeated in the ACC, the Duke Blue Devils, 1998-99. Elton Brand, Trajan Langdon, William Avery, Corey Maggette, Chris Carrawell, Shane Battier. Pretty good group. Just a few seconds separating the game clock and the shot clock. Proctor banked it in somehow from a very difficult angle.
That's like the shot Stephen Ashworth hit today to beat Villanova.
Ian Jackson will lay it in at the other end, and that will do it. Duke making another statement.